back to another Yogic Tarot tutorial. In this video, I'm exploring the Four of Pentacles, its associated philosophy of Aparigraha or non-attachment, and its associated pose, reverse triangle. So let's understand the Four of Pentacles. So when we're looking at fours are indicative of building a foundation. So coming from the threes, which is our planning phase, we're now moving into the four to start putting down a foundation. The Four of Pentacles, being Pentacles based, it's obviously, its main focus is around material possessions, our home, our health, our careers, our finances, so all the material aspects of ourself. The Four of Pentacles is more of a precautionary card, if you will. And what the card cautions against is being overly materialistic. So in a sense, clinging to the material aspects of ourselves. So what that can look like is clinging to a job in the hopes that one day we'll get that promotion that keeps popping up and everyone keeps talking about but never really materializes. It can be clinging to a savings account that we're like, oh, I must hold on to this in case I never get money again. It can be a very intense focus on my physical health. So it becomes almost like an obsession of like, oh, I must be healthy and I must maintain this health. We're going almost into the extreme of that aspect. So the four is a caution against holding on to things and clinging to things. Because when we're clinging to things, we're not allowing space for new things to come in. So if we think about the analogy of a house that we just keep filling with stuff, and we're hoarding all of these things because one day we might need them. So after a while of constantly hoarding and hoarding and hoarding, we're going to have no space in the house, correct? Yes. So the four is a caution against hoarding, in a sense, if you will, clinging to these things that because maybe one day I might need this Tupperware that doesn't have a matching lid. I might need this tattered old blanket because, I never know for what. I may need this empty box because I might need it one day. So I'm looking at it from almost like an absurd perspective, just to kind of give you almost the extreme of what we're looking at with the Four of Pentacles. So four is a caution against holding on to things that really aren't serving us. Tattered blanket. What are we actually going to do with that tattered blanket? What are we going to do with the empty box? So when we're starting to look at things from a realistic and a reasonable perspective, we're like, maybe I should chuck the tattered blanket in the empty box and throw them both out because they're not serving a purpose. So the four kind of cautions us against holding on to things because, like I said, when we're holding on to things, we have no space for anything new to come in. So let's go back to the example of sticking around in that job in the hopes that maybe we'll get that promotion. So you stay with this company for years and years and years in the hopes that one day they will level you up to the position that you've always dreamed of. And you look around again and it's been 20 million years and you still haven't got the promotion. And you start to question, should I have left a while ago? What other opportunities have I missed out by holding myself back in the hopes that I'm going to get this promotion? So the four is kind of about finding that balance between knowing the things that you should keep, not hold on to, not cling to, but the things that you should keep pursuing because there is actual potential there. It is something that you may use. It is a promotion that you may get. And then the opposite to that, where knowing when it's time to move on. Because perhaps you've sat in that company for 20 years, and if you'd left 10 years ago, you would be a million times ahead of where you are right now. So this four is more, like I say, it's a cautionary card. It cautions against holding on to things too tightly because when we hold on, we have no space for anything else. Bringing in the concept of Aparigraha. So Aparigraha is what we're looking to learn how to practice with the four. So the Aparigraha is one of our yamas. Yamas are our external ethics, if you will, how we interact with the world around us, or how we should interact with the world around us. And if we look at that from a perspective of a relationship, when we're clinging to a relationship, it's very difficult to see, is this relationship serving me? Am I here for the right reasons? Are they here for the right reasons? and we almost become clouded in our judgment by clinging to that relationship. So what Aparigraha teaches us is how to engage with the world around us from a healthy perspective of not clinging to the people around us, the things around us, the houses, the possessions, the jobs. So how we ideally want to engage with the world around us is from a sense of non-attachment. What attachment can cause is something called raga, which is one of our clashes, which when you find when we move into the Five of Pentacles, we'll be exploring that philosophy specifically. So when we're holding on to things, the clashes are something of what we call afflictions, things that cause suffering. And when we cling too tightly to a relationship, a job, a house, a home, all those different things, invariably we're going to create a sense of suffering for ourselves, because perhaps we're in a relationship that really is not serving us. Perhaps it's not even healthy for us. But because we're clinging so tightly to it, because we don't know what's on the other side of it, we're causing ourselves undue stress. We're causing ourselves unnecessary suffering. So bringing in the lesson of Aparigraha and the lesson of being non-attached is really important for how we're engaging with the world around us. So when we're talking about non-attachment, I don't mean go and sell all your worldly possessions and become an aesthetic. I'm not saying go and quit all your relationships and your friendships because, we don't know if they're serving us or not. Non-attachment it's about letting go so that things can flow and move forward and progress, so that we don't step into realms of stagnation. It's not about throwing everything out and be like, well, let's go live like the monks in Tibet, because that's very unrealistic for most of us. It's about that balance. So have the possessions, have the job, have the relationships, but have no attachments to them. And the core reason for this is that everything in life is temporary. Buddhist philosophy teaches us the lesson of everything being temporary in such a beautiful way, that everything is going to end. Everything is going to come to some kind of finality, because that is the nature of life. That is the nature of how everything works. Like nothing is going to last forever except for the authentic soul. So that's something that can shift and change, but it is something that's eternal. And it's the only thing that is permanent. So what is the point of holding on to things so tightly because, maybe I need this one day, maybe I'm going to get that promotion, when at the end of the day, it's still going to be temporary. It's still going to come to an end at some stage. So non-attachment isn't about just, like all of this, I'm just going to let everything go. It's keep those things close, but don't clutch onto them. Don't cling to them. Hold them and find that balance. There's a different component to the Four of Pentacles. So we've discussed the aspect of not clinging to things from a personal perspective, but there's also the perspective of that when we cling to things, we tend to step into a realm of being very selfish and self-centered, where it's like, oh, this is mine, these are my things, this is my house, these are my possessions, this is my money. And what the Four teaches us is a different type of balance. So the balance of learning to hold on to the things that are serving us without clinging, but also the balance of knowing that if I do actually have enough, if I'm clinging to all of the stuff that I have, I'm doing a disservice to the world. So the Four teaches us the balance of knowing when to hold on to things, because we really can't, we just can't afford to give assistance to those around us. But then also knowing like, hey, I actually can give that assistance, and then sharing openly with the world. So when we're looking at the pose of reverse triangle pose is really beautiful in teaching us to find stability and ease within our foundation. So we have both feet on the ground plus one of our hands, and that stabilizes us. And depending on how stable that foundation is going to denote how far we can get into our twist and how far we can actually take the arm up and find a good balance and flow in the body. So the three parts of the body that are on the ground, both feet and one hand, are our stability, our foundation. If that is sturdy and it's providing us enough support, support, we can actually possibly open up and start to share with the world around us. But if our foundation isn't stable enough to provide support even for ourselves, let alone anyone else, if we even attempt to take that hand up and offer something to the world, we're probably going to come crumbling down. So with coming into your reverse triangle pose, there's a couple of steps that we're going to take here and a couple of things that we explore in that pose. And the first thing is finding stability in that foundation. And while we're there, we're assessing how stable am I in different parts of my life, my job, my finances, my career, my home. And is that stability enough for just myself? Or do I feel like I have capacity to actually offer something to someone else, offer something to the world? So when exploring your foundation, explore it from the perspective of, am I stable enough to support myself? Okay, cool, I can do that. And am I stable enough to actually provide support to others? So I'm going to give an example. I traveled to Southeast Asia with the intention of living there for a good stretch. Things didn't work out the way that they intended to work out, and I came back to South Africa, my home country, for almost like a reset. But because in a sense, I had actually given up all my worldly possessions. I didn't have a home there anymore because I was looking to make my home somewhere else. A friend of mine offered for me to stay with her, and my first question was, how long can I stay, and have you got the means to provide this to me? And she was adamant that yes, she could assist me and she could give me that support. As the weeks and the months wore on, it became very apparent that her own foundation wasn't stable enough to support just herself, let alone be assistive to someone else. And so the foundation in her home became very unstable. It became unstable for the both of us. And the minute I removed myself and I went to stay with my mentor at the time, everything switched around, because my mentor said to me, she said, your timing is actually perfect, because I could actually use someone coming to stay with me. So we now had a more symbiotic and cohesive relationship going on, where this person does actually have a stable foundation in which to assist me. And life moved forward really quickly from there. My mentor always uses the phrase, when you let it go, you let it flow. And in this instance, when I let go of holding onto that unstable foundation that my friend was trying to provide to me, things started to flow and they started to progress. But while I was staying with that friend in that unstable foundation, wow, were things stagnant. I was going nowhere, and neither was she. So by clinging to her unstable foundation, I'm doing both of us a disservice. Shifting into a foundation where someone can provide that support, there was symbiosis, there was cohesion, there was like, oh, this actually works out for the both of us. So clinging to that unstable foundation induced a form of suffering for both of us. So we need to question our foundation. Is our foundation stable enough for ourselves? And if not, what can we do to stabilize that foundation? And if it is stable enough for ourselves, we can then ask the question, have I got enough stability in this foundation to be of service to others, to offer something to the rest of the world? So assess your foundation as you're coming into your twisted triangle pose. The reason I've chosen the reverse variation of triangle pose is that it offers a really beautiful twist. And when we have twists going on in the body, particularly in that abdominal area, we have almost like a wringing out. It's very detoxifying, and it allows us to actually release and let go of a lot of the toxins in the body. So firm foundation on the ground, and we're not twisting up like this. That twisting motion, what you're going to explore is, what do I need to let go of? My foundation is stable. I can see the things that are serving me. Now twisting, what can I actually let go of? What's hindering my flow? And if you find there's a little bit of resistance in that twist, ask yourself the question, what's causing that resistance? Is it just that my body isn't primed enough for the twist? Maybe I need to build a little bit more strength in my body before I try the twist. or perhaps it's something a little bit deeper than that that's causing that resistance. So asking the question, what is causing resistance? What are the things that I'm holding onto that's making stagnation and resistance in my life? So coming into the twist, we're now exploring a different component to the Four of Pentacles. And as we find that twist and we start to take this hand up, we're now going to ask the question, what do I actually have to give to the world? What do I actually have to offer? So my foundation provides stability for me. The twist provides a release and a let go. And the hand coming up is here, well, this is what I actually have to offer you. So we have three different levels to our pose that we're practicing. And they all hit on the different components of the Four of Pentacles really beautifully. That's why I chose the reverse variation of triangle pose for this card specifically. So when you're exploring your Four of Pentacles, explore in those three different stages. As you're coming into your pose, you're twisting and you're opening up to the world and saying, hey, this is what I have to offer. Ask yourself those questions at those different stages, because they really offer some really beautiful insights on just the surface level. Perhaps you are in a job and you are clinging onto it because, hey, maybe I will get that promotion, maybe I will get that raise. But if you're clinging to it, what are you sacrificing by clinging to that job? What are you missing out on by holding on to that job? And sometimes we do need to hold on because it does work out for us. But in some instances, if we've been there for 1,000,000,001 years and we still haven't got that promotion, likely we're just doing ourselves a disservice and we're stagnating in that job. So explore the different facets of your material aspect. Look at your health, look at your home, your finances, your career, your material possessions. Have you got an attic full of stuff that you haven't looked at in the last 100 years and you're like, oh, but maybe I might need it one day. Maybe it's time for a clean out of the attic. And that cleaning out, we can then filter out into the different parts of our life. Our thoughts, our relationships, our fears, our phobias, things that hold us back and kind of cement us into place where it's like, oh, I'm not moving forward because I'm too scared to move forward. So look at it from the material perspective first, because obviously it is a Four of Pentacles. But then from there, take it out into the other realms of your life and explore. What are the other things that I'm clinging onto? Old belief systems, old habits, old behaviors, old friendships that really just don't serve any purpose. It's like, well, I need to maintain this friendship because, I need to be a good person, and it would be wrong of me to let this friendship go. But if the friendship's not serving either of you, why cling to it? So non-attachment is really about finding that balance between holding on to the things that are serving us and are important, but without a sense of clutching and desperation of like, oh, I must hold on to this because what if I never find another friend again? So explore, coming into your twist, what are the things that I really do need to let go of? And in letting go of those things, can I perhaps pass those things on to other people where it may serve them? Or is it something that really just, I need to just open up and completely just let it go? So spend some time coming into your reverse triangle, exploring what that foundation feels like. What are the things that are supporting you? What are the things that are throwing that foundation off? Perhaps the things that you're clutching to. And question, what am I clinging to out of desperation? And what am I holding on to because it's something that's actually serving me? What do I need to let go of? And what do I actually have to offer the world? So the Four of Pentacles does have a lesson in not being selfish, but rather learning to become selfless. So you'll find that when we start to move into the Five of Pentacles, we're going to explore what happens when we do cling to things and we do hold on to the things that aren't serving us. And we'll start to explore the repercussions of that. And then filtering out of that, we then move into the Six, which is going to teach us that when we do let things go and we do become selfless and of service, the beautiful things that can come with that. So I will catch you when we explore the Five of Pentacles and moving into the Six. I'm really looking forward to that. As always, please leave your thoughts and comments on the system. If you're doing the poses and you're practicing the cards, I would love to hear your feedback on how it's supporting you and or any shifts and changes I could possibly make. by all means, I'm open to that criticism, but without any attachments. All right, so I will catch you next time in another Yogic Tarot tutorial.